What is up, guys? We did one of these for the 6.24 changes earlier in the week, which will be at the top of the description, by the way, if you want to check out those ones. But all the other changes I said might be coming soon have actually arrived, and some of them are pretty big. Let me know what you think of these in the comments, but let's start with one we mentioned last time. Fervor got a buff, and they're actually going even further now. The stack duration has been increased to 6 seconds, AD per stack increased to 1 to 8 now, and the maximum stacks are down to 8, which is better. This is so good for so many different champions. Like, it's actually a really big buff for things like Ezreal and Lucian, especially Twitch, Kalista as well. For any AD carry who uses some form of ability and also auto attacks for their damage, this is going to be such a big buff, and late game is going to be even better. For top laners though, this is actually insane. They can stack this up now with 4 hits for 80 AD late game. Holy crap. That is so much extra damage and AD at the very start of a fight. Remember melee people like Yasuo, for example, they actually get 2 stacks per hit, so they only need 4. Anyway, on to the new changes that we haven't talked about before. The first one is blue buff. In the preseason, they actually changed it so it lasted a shorter time, but it was kind of more impactful, right? They basically wanted to try and make people prep for fights better and make sure they had their buffs. Well, it seems that Riot have kind of figured out that solo queue players do not use their brain that much, and they've removed the percentage AP and increased the duration back to 2 minutes. Honestly, this is probably better for the average mid laner now. Like, it lasts longer in the lane phase so you can spam your spells more. It's not going to be as good in team fights later now, but most people probably didn't even know that it had a percentage AP ratio on it. They probably only got it for the mana regen. Let's look at some of the item changes before we get into the champions. So the first one, halting guys, Leandri's is 100 gold cheaper. Kind of nice, but I'm going to come back to this in a second. The big one is to Rylai's though. So it's 600 gold cheaper. Now, you know it's actually been completely boned when they knock off that much off the price. Components wise, it's blasting one now and not a rod. It's 300 health, 75 AP, and it slows by 20% for 1 second. There's going to be 100 less health, 25 less AP, and 20% off the slow as well. It was also for 1.5 seconds for single target spells. This is honestly a huge nerf for mid laners right now. Stat wise, 25% less than they were getting before, right? Like, sure, it's cheaper now, but you only have so many slots in your inventory. Because you're getting so much gold and stuff, you want to pack each slot with as many stats as possible. Plus, the percentage extra from like a death cap is now going to give you less. Even just the base stats part sucks, right? But like, the slow is half what it used to be. 20% off of that. Really, it's not that much anymore. Like, I mean, it still slows and stuff, but it's not as good. The slow is half as good. The base stats are down. It's just a much weaker item. Those champions who kind of built this second item to be a bit more tanky, still do damage and kind of slow and be annoying, are really not going to have much fun. There is one good part of this though, because it isn't just a nerf. Actually, for supports, I think this is better. Cheap is good, right? Especially 600 gold cheaper. You actually want to pay less and get less ideally, so you can have more items overall. The slow being lower is still annoying, but you can reach the combo of Rylai's and Leandri's 700 gold quicker into a game now. This is where I think like Riot want the value to come from, now getting both of these faster. To champions who don't want the burn but simply want the slow and the raw stats, it's going to be a nerf. To those who actually want to use the burn more and supports, I think it's actually going to be a buff. So let's move on to the actual champion changes. The first one is kind of like a mini rework to Varus' passive. So finally, he's actually getting some changes. When he kills an enemy, he gets bonus attack speed for 5 seconds, right? On a champion or a kill assist, it's 40% now plus 50% of your bonus attack speed. On a minion kill, it's 20% plus 25% of bonus attack speed. And finally, we have this Varus stuff. It's aimed at being an AD carry as well. It must be Christmas. They're trying to make some kind of crit viable on him basically, or at least a proper auto attack build. This would mean, by the way, if you had 60% attack speed bonus on champion kill or assist, you get a bonus 70% extra. It's 40% base plus 30% from the ratio. That is pretty nuts actually. That's double a rapid fire cannon of free attack speed. I think we really want to think about this like Jinx really, except you don't run around super fast, you just attack super fast. Like, imagine if it was Runen to Phantom Dancer with Infinity Edge, right? That was your build. Then you kill someone and pop off with like 80% bonus attack speed. That's over 160% total bonus attack speed with all of those crits. You'll be like a bloody turret firing those crits out, honestly. We'll have to see how this works in game, because this is only great if you get an assist or a kill, but it is a really, really good start. So Rengar's actually getting a nerf as well on this PB. The flat AD on his passive is up a little bit actually, but the percentage bonus is going down to 20% maximum from 30%. Rengar has kind of become a massive issue recently, so it makes sense he's getting a nerf. Like, the perfect scenario for him in a game happened too often, and it was way too good. Like, he'd roam around around and you get some kills, get some good ganks, and he'd easily pick up like 3 or 4 stacks quite fast. And he'd nail down the last one for that 30% bonus AD. This nerf is actually going to hurt both tank and AD Rengar though. Like AD, obviously you have more AD, so the percentage means more lost overall. With the tank stuff though, you got free AD from 1 or 2 items, and that will be less now. So that's less damage building tank. In my opinion though, the biggest problem is the guaranteed crit like synergy with just Infinity Edge on the leap. Like you only need Infinity Edge now, and then you will do a monster leap or one shot. That has got to be the problem, honestly. When you leap and you just guarantee you're going to use the Infinity Edge passive, like that's so much more efficient as an item, and it's a ton of AD as well. This nerf is a good start. 10% is a lot, but I think Rengar is broken enough to survive this, sadly. Syndra might not survive though. Her ultimate damage is going down, and Riot said they wanted to nerf her and then tackle all the other mages together somehow, so this makes sense. The thing is, it is also the Rylai's nerf plus this, remember, actually as well. Like 60 damage at least removed, so it's a decent chunk gone from her ult. Especially early, it's going to mean a bit more, like I think when you have less AP to buff the ratio, but you're also losing AP from the Rylai, so you're losing some health as well. It means you can't really just press R and one shot while being kind of tanky. You're probably going to have to change your build up. She doesn't want the Liandry synergy that much, so it's not really worth it. I reckon Abyssal will become way more popular now. Like it would make up for that damage loss kind of with the MR reduction, or it's just a good item on her anyway. Overall, she's definitely going to be worse. Tanks locking her down or boning her anyway, so I reckon she will not be tier 1 anymore. Fervor isn't the only thing that was adjusted from the last time I did this video, actually. Vayne has got some more changes. Well, they've kind of adjusted the nerfs before. So before, her Q bonus AD damage was 10 to 70% from 30 to 70%. So they were reducing it at early ranks. Her ultimate as well, the invisibility duration was down to 0.5 seconds from 1 second, what it is now. So actually a pretty big nerf to her ultimate. Right now, they've actually changed it, so the bonus damage has been lowered. Still 30% of rank 1, but they've changed the rank 5 to 50%. So they've kind of reverted the buff they gave her a few months ago. They've actually also just completely removed her ultimate change. So it's no longer going to be 0.5 seconds. It's just back to how it was a 1 second. So this is going to mean that Dustblade still works with the ultimate, which is kind of cool if you want to go for like more of a fun assassin-y kind of style build of Vayne. Even if it's not the most optimal thing, it's still pretty fun. So that's a good thing, right? But the Q change is actually worse, because before a rank 5, we still get the 70%. Now we're only going to get 50%. This is going to nerf the crit build as well, because your Q is going to do less damage, so it's not really as bursty as it was before. I don't know if it's going to be like a major nerf, because honestly, the only AD you really have early into the game is Infinity Edge anyway, so it's not like a massive thing, but it is going to reduce your damage, and if you're maxing Q, you're going to feel it a little bit at rank 5. So that is actually going to be probably worse overall. I don't know. The ultimate change was really big before, so at least that's gone back. Garen has been played around on the PBE with quite a lot actually recently, but there is a new change on here. So enemies hit by 4 spins lose 25% of their armor for 6 seconds. I think this is actually a pretty cool change. Like before, they had this every spin would reduce your armor, and that was pretty ridiculous. This is a good way of getting the same effect, but not doing it in a broken way, I think. Like it means that he'll be a really good tank killer, decent versus carry champions because he can build defense, but naturally just very good versus tanks. The thing is, Garen like has no real place. He has no real crowd control apart from that really annoying silence. So this might bring him back into actually like viable, or at least having a specific job. We are finally seeing some Azir changes, but don't get your hopes up. The recharge time is going down by 2 seconds, and that is it. Not quite on the Kalista level of changes here. Like she got a decent buff, but Azir just got the recharge lowered. I mean, it's kind of nice, right? I guess, but it's not really going to be enough to bring him back. I don't think, at least I don't think so personally. I don't think we're going to see way more Azir and him become a lot more successful now. The final one of the new stuff is Katarina's getting a passive change, so like picking up the dagger. The AP ratio is up early as well as that though, so that's probably the bigger part of this. This isn't a major deal at all though, either of these changes. It might be smaller for now and saving a bigger buff for later though. I'm not really sure though, because I think Katarina is decent anyway, and I reckon Riot are going to give these new assassins small little tweaks here and there until people figure out like how to play them and do well with them. Just before we end this video though, I want to give you a very quick summary or rundown of the other stuff that we talked about last video, also on this PBE, but we did go over them properly. If you want to see these explained properly, then you can go and check out the other video, but actually one that's different is for Fiddlesticks. So drain damage is increased early and the E cooldown is lowered. There was a change before that meant the E could bounce off himself, but that's actually been removed for now at least. They're testing different changes. Ivern is getting an E nerf to his slow and a mana cost. Kallista's E refunds on 1 kill and the passive can stack while on cooldown now, so it's actually a really big deal. Kog'Maw's W has 1% more damage, but his E AP ratio is down, so buffing AD Cog and nerfing AP Cog. LeBlanc's Q damage is up, but there's less bounce now to minions, and her E damage is down. Twitch's stealth duration time has also been reduced. Finally, Courage of the Colossus, the percentage health on a shield has been lowered and the cooldown is up early. There was obviously, we talked about Fervor before, but that's a bit different, and we talked about that earlier in this video. So this is a massive PBE patch, and hopefully I've caught you up to speed on everything Riot are testing playing and what they want to do. Let me know in the comments what you think of these changes. Thank you very much for watching until the end, but for now, let's go to the robots.